Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatadine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Everybody Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Everybody Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Haribo, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mahamantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Shri Caitanya, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. It's because the names are that long, because there's just so much respect you want to show to some people. And it comes out in the name. It's just a culture of respect when somebody has some deep realization or talent, and they add names onto names. That's why, since you asked. So, here we are in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gaur Purnima is upon us. We're so lucky because we're the recipients of transcendental knowledge coming down through a disciplic succession. Somebody took the trouble to write it down so that we could hear it again and again. And tonight I'm going to read from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, from the Adi Leela, chapter 3, because this is one out of the two main chapters that describe the reason that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. Those who develop a sense that that one's attempts to be happy in the material world are futile. Not that you can't be happy, but you have to know the science. And there is a sense of resignation to the fact that I'm not the supreme controller. And then one becomes open to understanding information that comes from a higher position. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita gives us such knowledge, and it's about Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who comes at various times in various eras. Asan varnastrayo yasya grinto nu yugam tanum shuklo raktastata pita idanim krishnatam gataha. This was something that Gargamuni said. Gargamuni says in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that the Supreme Krishna appears in different yugas, in different colors. Shukla, Rakta, Tata, Pita. So Pita means Pita, not Pitta. Pitta means father. Pita means yellow, so don't call your father Pita. It's Pitta. And he's also Shuklo, white, Rakta, red. And there's also mentioned that Shuka comes as green, like a parrot in Ramachandra. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in the Kali Yuga, but in this Kali Yuga, there is a confluence of purposes. And the first purpose is to spread the Yuga Dharma. Another purpose was that Krishna wanted to experience the love of his devotees by being a devotee himself. That comes in the 4th chapter. And in this chapter, we're going to hear about his purposes of giving anyone who has ears to hear understanding of how to perform the Yuga Dharma, and also to teach about spontaneous devotional service, which is beyond devotional service in reverence. So here's the objective. Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. It's fun. It's like the old days. Remember the old days? So we have an opportunity here to hear. So if you happen to have a surface to write on, a pen, a paper, or something, yes, and good if you have the book. It's good to you, Sundari Kirtan. You have the book available. That's nice. That if you hear a sentence, a quote, there's a quotation you want to pull, try to write it down. If there's a verse you hear that you think is very valuable, write it down. Collect these. And everyone who has at least one that you've picked out and you wrote down, we'd like to hear the quote that was meaningful to you. Does that sound fair? So it's participatory. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, that's it. We're starting up at Adi Leela Chapter 3, the external reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I'm starting at text number 1. Sri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Yat Prasadashraya Yat Pradarshaya Viryata Sang Granat Yakara Vratad Agna Siddhanta Sanmanim. Sri Chaitanya Prabhum to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is an original verse written by Kaviraj Goswami. So for every chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he writes an original Sanskrit verse as an invocation to each chapter. Vande, I offer my respectful obeisances, Yat, of whom, Pada Ashraya, of the shelter of the lotus feet, Viryataha, from the power, Sangranati, collects, Akara Vratat, from the multitude of minds in the form of scriptures. Agna, a fool, Siddhanta, of conclusion, Mat Manim, the best jewels. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet, even a fool can collect the valuable jewels of conclusive truth from the minds of the revealed scriptures. Text 2. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Nityananda, Lord Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Tritiya Shlokera Arto Kaila Vitarana. Chaturta Shlokera Arto Shun Bhakta Ghana. I have given the purport of the third verse. Now, O devotees, please listen to the meaning of the fourth with full attention. Anarpita charim chirar karunayavatirna kalau samarpayitumanatojwala rasam swapakti shriyam hari purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita sadahridaya kandare spuratuva shachinandana. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Shachidevi, be transcendentally situated in the innermost core of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has descended in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. Purport. This is a quotation from the Vidagdha Madhava 1.2, a drama compiled and edited by Srila Rupa Goswami. Lord Krishna, the son of the king of Vraja, is the Supreme Lord. He eternally enjoys transcendental pastimes in his eternal abode, Goloka, which includes Vrajadam. Purport. In the previous chapter, it has been established that Krishna, the son of Rajendra, the king of Raj, is the supreme personality of Godhead with 6 opulences. He eternally enjoys transcendently variegated opulences on his planet, which is known as Goloka. The eternal pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual planet of Krishna Loka are called aprakat, or unmanifested pastimes, because they are beyond the purview of the conditioned souls. Lord Krishna is always present everywhere, but when he is not present before our eyes, he is said to be aprakat, or unmanifested. Once in a day of Brahma, he descends to this world to manifest his transcendental pastimes. We know that there are 4 ages, yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. These 4 together constitute one Divya Yuga. Text number 8. 71 Divya Yugas constitute one Manvantara. There are 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma. Purport. A Manvantara is the period controlled by one Manu. The reign of 14 Manus equals the length of one day, 12 hours, in the life of Brahma, and the night of Brahma is of the same duration. These calculations are given in the authentic astronomy book called the Surya Siddhanta. A Bengali translation of this book was compiled by the great professor of astronomy and mathematics, Bimal Prasad Datta, later known as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, who was our merciful spiritual master. He was honored with the title Siddhanta Saraswati for translating the Surya Siddhanta, and the title Goswami Maharaj was added when he accepted sannyas, the renounced order of life. Text number 9. The present Manu, who is the 7th, is called Vaisesika, the son of Vivishwan. 27 Divya Yugas, that's 27 times 4,320,000 solar years of his age have now passed. Purport. The names of the 14 Manus are as follows. 1. Swayambhuva. 2. Swarochisa. 3. Uttama. 4. Tamasa. 5. Raivata. 6. Chakshusha. 7. Vaivasvata. 8. Savarni. 9. Daksha Sarvani. 10. Brahma Sarvani. 11. Dharma Sarvani. 12. Rudra Putra. Rudra Sarvani. 13. Raucha, or Deva Sarvani. And 14. Bhautyaka, or Indra Sarvani. Text 10. At the end of the Dwapara Yuga, of the 28th Divya Yuga, Lord Krishna appears on earth with the full paraphernalia of his eternal Vrajadam. Purport. Now is the term of Vaivasvata Manu, during which Lord Caitanya appears. First, Lord Krishna appears at the close of the Dwapara Yuga of the 28th Divya Yuga, and then Lord Caitanya appears in the Kali Yuga of the same Divya Yuga. Lord Krishna and Lord Caitanya appear once in each day of Brahma, or once in 14 Manvantaras, each of 71 Divya Yugas in duration. From the beginning of Brahma's day of 4,320,000,000 years, 6 Manus appear and disappear before Lord Krishna appears. Thus, 1,975,320,000 years of the day of Brahma elapse before the appearance of Lord Krishna. This is an astronomical calculation according to solar years. 11. Dasya Sakya Vatsalya Shringar Chari Ras Chari Bhavera Bhakta Jata Krishna Taravash. Servitude, Dasya. Friendship, Sakya. Parental affection, Vatsalya. And conjugal love, Shringara, are the four transcendental mellows, rasas. By the devotees who cherish these four mellows, Lord Krishna is subdued. Purport. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Shringara are the transcendental modes of loving service to the Lord. Shantaras, or the neutral stage, is not mentioned in this verse because although in Shantarasa one considers the absolute truth, the sublime great, one does not go beyond that conception. Shantarasa is a very grand idea for materialistic philosophers. But such idealistic appreciation is only the beginning. It is the lowest among the relationships in the spiritual world. Shantarasa is not given much importance because as soon as there is a slight understanding between the knower and the known, active, loving, transcendental reciprocations and exchanges begin. Dasya rasa is the basic relationship between Krishna and his devotees. Therefore, this verse considers Dasya the first stage of transcendental devotional service. I could tell you like that one. I'm going to read that last sentence again because I know you're all writing it down anyway. Here it is. Shantarasa is a very grand idea for materialistic philosophers, but such idealistic appreciation is only the beginning. It is the lowest among the relationships in the spiritual world. Shantarasa is not given much importance because as soon as there is a slight understanding between the knower and the known, active, loving, transcendental reciprocations and exchanges begin. I'm going to say those last few words again because it's almost has a little bit of a beat to it, doesn't it? Active, loving, transcendental reciprocations. What's this about? It's about active, loving, transcendental reciprocations and exchanges. And these begin when there's a slight understanding between the knower and the known. That's philosophical, and it's also very poetical and beautiful. I'm sorry, it just is. Okay, Dasya Ras is the basic relationship between Krishna and his devotees. Therefore, this verse considers Dasya the first stage of transcendental devotional service. There's a sense of understanding that there's the knower and the known, and then there's two. There's a sense that there's somebody besides me who's very beautiful and loving. And that's when active, loving, transcendental reciprocations and exchanges begin. And those just get developed more and more eternally. That's what we're all looking for. Here comes text number 12. If you can handle it after that, you might be overwhelmed and not want to go on. You might just be rolling on the floor. 12. Absorbed in such transcendental love, Lord Sri Krishna enjoys in Vraj with his devoted servants, friends, parents, and conjugal lovers. Purport. The descent of Sri Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is very purposeful. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one who knows the truth about Sri Krishna's descent and his various activities is at once liberated and does not have to fall again to this existence of birth and death after he leaves his present material body. In other words, one who factually understands Krishna makes his life perfect. Imperfect life is realized in material existence in 5 different relationships we share with everyone within the material world: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, filial love, and amorous love between husband and wife, or lover and beloved. These 5 enjoyable relationships within the material world are perverted reflections of relationships with the absolute personality of Godhead in the transcendental nature. That absolute personality, Sri Krishna, descends to revive the 5 eternally existing relationships. Thus, he manifests his transcendental pastimes in Vraja so that people may be attracted into that sphere of activities and leave aside their imitation relationships with the mundane. Then, after fully exhibiting all such activities, the Lord disappears. (13) Lord Krishna enjoys his transcendental pastimes as long as he wishes, and then he disappears. After disappearing, however, he thinks thus: Chirakala nahi kori prema bhakti dhan, bhakti bina jagatera nahi avastan. Chirakala, for a long time. Nahi kari, I have not done. Prema bhakti, loving devotional service. Dan, giving. Bhakti, devotional service. Bina, without. Jagatera, of the universe. Nahi, not. Avasthana, existence. For a long time, I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. Purport: the Lord seldom awards pure devotional love, but without such pure love of God, freed from fruitive activities and empiric speculation, one cannot attain perfection in life. Text 15. Everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Vrajabhumi. Text 16. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. Purport: after his appearance, Lord Krishna thought that he had not distributed the transcendental personal dealings with his devotees in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. One may understand the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedic literatures and thus become a devotee of the Lord and worship him within the regulative principles described in the scriptures. But one will not know in this way how Krishna is served by the residents of Vrajabhumi. One cannot understand the dealings of the Lord in Vrindavan simply by executing the ritualistic regulative principles mentioned in the scriptures. By following scriptural injunctions, one may enhance his appreciation for the glories of the Lord, but there is no chance for one to enter into personal dealings with him. Giving too much attention to understanding the exalted glories of the Lord reduces the chance of one's entering into personal loving affairs with the Lord. To teach the principles of such loving dealings, the Lord decided to appear as Lord Caitanya. Text 17. By performing such regulated devotional service in awe and veneration, one may go to Vaikuntha and attain the 4 kinds of liberation. 18. These liberations are Sharshti, achieving opulences equal to those of the Lord, Sarupya, having a form the same as the Lord's, Samipya, living as a personal associate of the Lord, and Salokya, living on a Vaikuntha planet. Devotees never accept Sayuja, however, because that is oneness with Brahman. Purport. Those engaged in devotional service according to the ritualistic principles mentioned in the scriptures attain these different kinds of liberation. But although such devotees can attain Sharshti, Sarupya, Samipya, and Salokya, they are not concerned with these liberations, for such devotees are satisfied only in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. The fifth kind of liberation, Sayuja, is never accepted, even by devotees who perform only ritualistic worship. To attain Sayuja, or merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the aspiration of the impersonalists. A devotee never cares for Sayuja liberation. 19. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. Yuga Dharma Pravartaimu Nam Sankirtan Chari Bhava Bhakti Diya Na Chamu Uvan. Yuga Dharma, the religion of the age. Pravartainu, I shall inaugurate. Pravartaimu, I shall inaugurate. Nam Sankirtan, chanting the holy name. Chari, 4, Bhava, of the moods. Bhakti, devotion. Diya, giving. Nachamu, I shall cause to dance. Bhuvana, the world. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. These are in quotation marks because Kaviraj Goswami is telling us what the Lord is saying. He's speaking. This is his contemplation before appearing. 20. I shall accept the role of a devotee, and I shall teach devotional service by practicing it myself. Purport. When one associates with a pure devotee, he becomes so elevated that he does not aspire even for Sharshti, Sarupya, Samipya, or Salokya, because he feels that such liberation is a kind of sense gratification. Pure devotees do not ask anything from the Lord for their personal benefit. Even if offered personal benefits, pure devotees do not accept them because their only desire is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by transcendental loving service. No one but the Lord himself can teach this highest form of devotional service. Therefore, when the Lord took the place of the incarnation of Kali Yuga, to spread the glories of chanting Hare Krishna, the system of worship recommended in this age, he also distributed the process of devotional service performed on the platform of transcendental spontaneous love. To teach the highest principles of spiritual life, the Lord himself appeared as a devotee in the form of Lord Caitanya. 21. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. This conclusion is indeed confirmed throughout the Gita and Bhagavatam. Text 22. If you know it, sing it along with me behind muted mics. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Word meanings, yada yada, whenever, he, certainly, dharmasya, of religious principles, glani, decrease, bhavati, there is, bharata, O descendant of Bharat, abhutanam, increase, adharmasya, irreligion, tada, then, atmanam, myself, sujami, manifest, aham, I. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Text 23. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya, for the deliverance, sadhunam, of the devotees, vinashaya, for the destruction, cha, and duskritam, of the miscreants, dharma, religious principles, samstapana artaya, for the purpose of establishing, sambhavami, I appear, yuge yuge, in every age, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Purport. Text 22 and 23 were spoken by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7 through 8. Text 24 and 25, which follow, are also from the Bhagavad Gita 3.24 and 3.21. Utsidayor ime loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyam ima praja. If I did not show proper principles of religion, all these worlds would fall into ruin. I would be the cause of unwanted population and would spoil all these living beings. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tadevi tarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. Whatever actions a great man performs, common people follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Text number 26. My plenary portions can establish the principles of religion for each age. No one but me, however, can bestow the kind of loving service performed by the residents of Raja. So this is getting into very specific territory here. So the ways in which Krishna appears are to establish religious principles when there's a need, and there's always a need, and also to uplift the devotees because he reciprocates with those who are reaching out to him one way or the other. And so the normal appearance of the Lord in the Kali Yuga is to establish the Yuga Dharma, establish the religious principle of Nam Sankirtan. But this specific Yuga is special. This is what we're hearing, the inner workings of the Lord. He's thinking that people don't know anything beyond just the religious principles, the regulated way of worshiping the Lord in awe and reverence. But he wants people to know about the spontaneous method of devotional service as practiced in the highest position of the spiritual world, called Goloka. And so he says, no one but me, however, can bestow the kind of loving service performed by the residents of Raja. So we get the Yuga avatar in this age, but there's something special about the Yuga avatar. It's not just an expansion of an expansion, or sometimes it's a jiva who's empowered by Krishna to come and spread the Yuga Dharma. But this time, in this Kali Yuga, It's Krishna himself, because he has some motivation. He wants to teach something special. And he reasons that only he can bestow this upon the world, people of the world. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu is that manifestation of Swayam Bhagavan, means the personally, God personally coming, Krishna personally coming in the form of a devotee to teach these secrets about the spiritual world. That's how special it is. That's how special he is. Text 27. There may be many all auspicious incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but who other than Lord Sri Krishna can bestow love of God upon the surrendered souls? Purport. This quotation from the writings of Bilvamangal Thakur is found in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita 1.537. Text 28. Therefore, in the company of my devotees, I shall appear on earth and perform various colorful pastimes. 29. Thinking thus, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself, descended at Nadia early in the age of Kali. Purport. The Pratama Sandhya is the beginning of the age. According to astronomical calculation, the age is divided into 12 parts. The first of these 12 divisions is known as the Pratama Sandhya. The Pratama Sandhya and Shesha Sandhya, the last division of the preceding age, form the junction of the two ages. According to the Surya Siddhanta, the Pratama Sandhya of Kali Yuga lasts 36,000 solar years. Lord Caitanya appeared in the Pratama Sandhya after 4,586 solar years of Kali Yuga had passed. 30. Thus the lion-like Lord Caitanya has appeared in Navadvip. He has the shoulders of a lion, the powers of a lion, and the loud voice of a lion. May that lion be seated in the core of the heart of every living being. Thus, with his resounding roar, may he drive away one's elephantine vices. 32. In his early pastimes, he is known as Vishwambar because he floods the world with the nectar of devotion and thus saves the living beings. Pratama Lilaya Tar Vishwambhara Nam Bhakti Rase Darila Bhuta Gram. Pratama, first, Lilaya, in the pastimes, Tar, of him, Vishwambhar Nam, the name Vishwambar, Bhakti Rase, with the mellow of devotional service, Barila, he filled, Darila, saved, Bhuta Grama, all the living entities. In his early pastimes, he is known as Vishwambhar because he floods the world with the nectar of devotion and thus saves the living beings. The verbal root, text number 33, Dubrin, which is the root of the word Vishwambar, indicates nourishing and maintaining. He, Lord Caitanya, nourishes and maintains the three worlds by distributing love of God. 34. In his later pastimes, he is known as Sri Krishna Caitanya. He blesses the whole world by teaching about the name and fame of Lord Krishna. Are you ready for the purport? You're really ready. You're all fired up. Okay, here it is. Lord Caitanya remained a householder only until his 24th year had passed. Then he entered the renounced order and remained manifest in this material world until his 48th year. Therefore, his Shesha Lila, or the final portion of his activities, lasted 24 years. Some so-called Vaishnavas say that the renounced order of life was not accepted in the Vaishnava Sampradaya or disciplic succession until Lord Caitanya. This is not a very intelligent proposition. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the sannyas order from Sripad Keshava Bharati, who belonged to the Shankara sect, which approves of only 10 names for sannyas. Long before the advent of Sripad Shankaracharya, however, the sannyas order existed in the Vaishnava line of Vishnu Swami. In the Vishnu Swami Vaishnava Sampradaya, there are 10 different kinds of sannyas names and 108 different names for sannyasis who accept the Tridanda, the triple staff of sannyas. This is approved by the Vedic rules. Therefore, Vaishnava sannyas was existent even before the appearance of Shankaracharya, although those who know nothing about Vaishnava sannyas unnecessarily declare that there is no sannyas in the Vaishnava Sampradaya. During the time of Lord Caitanya, the influence of Shankaracharya in society was very strong. People thought that one could accept sannyas only in the disciplic succession of Shankaracharya. Lord Caitanya could have performed his missionary activities as a householder, but he found householder life an obstruction to his mission. Therefore, he decided to accept the renounced order, sannyas. Since his acceptance of sannyas was also designed to attract public attention, Lord Caitanya, not wishing to disturb the social convention, took the renounced order of life from a sannyasi in the disciplic succession of Shankaracharya, although sannyas was also sanctioned in the Vaishnava Sampradaya. In the Shankar Sampradaya, there are 10 different names awarded to sannyasis. Now, you'll have to memorize these as I say them, because there will be a quiz right after this purport. 1, Tirtha. 2, Ashrama. 3, Vani. 4, Aranya. 5, Giri. 6, Parvat. 7, Sagara. 8, Saraswati. 9, Bharati. And 10, Puri. I hope you got those. Before one enters sannyas, he has one of the various names for a brahmachari, the assistant to a sannyasi. Sannyasis with the titles Tirtha and Ashrama generally stay at Dwarka, and their brahmachari name is Swarup. Those known by the names Vana and Aranya stay at Purushottam or Jagannath Puri, and their brahmachari name is Prakash. Prakash. Those with the name Giri, Parvat, and Sagara generally stay at Badarikashram, and their brahmachari name is Ananda. Those with the titles Saraswati, Bharati, and Puri usually live at Sringeri in South India, and their brahmachari name is Caitanya. Sripad Shankaracharya established 4 monasteries in India in the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west, and he entrusted them to 4 sannyasis who were his disciples. Now there are hundreds of branch monasteries under these 4 principal monasteries. And although there is an official symmetry among them, there are many differences in their dealings. The 4 different sects of these monasteries are known as Anandavar, Bhogavar, Kitavar, and Bhumivar. And in course of time, they have developed different ideas and different slogans. According to the regulation of the disciplic succession, one who wishes to enter the renounced order in Shankara's sect must first be trained as a brahmachari under a bona fide sannyasi. The brahmachari's name is ascertained according to the group to which the sannyasi belongs. Lord Caitanya accepted sannyas from Keshava Bharati. When he first approached Keshava Bharati, he was accepted as a brahmachari with the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmachari. After he took sannyas, he preferred to keep the name Krishna Chaitanya. The great authorities in the disciplic succession had not offered to explain why Lord Caitanya refused to take the name Bharati after he took sannyas from a Bharati, until Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj volunteered the explanation that because a sannyasi in the Shankara Sampradaya thinks that he has become the supreme, Lord Chaitanya, wanting to avoid such a misconception, kept the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya, placing himself as an eternal servitor. A brahmacharya is supposed to serve the spiritual master. Therefore, he did not negate that relationship of servitude to his spiritual master. Accepting such a position is favorable for the relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master. The authentic biographies also mention that Lord Chaitanya accepted the danda rod and begging pot, symbolic of the sannyas order, at the time he took sannyas. Okay, I'll read this, and then the next verse, which is one I quoted early on, and then I'll ask to see what things you gleaned from the reading. Knowing him, Lord Chaitanya to be the incarnation of Kali Yuga, Garga Muni, during the naming ceremony of Krishna, predicted his appearance. This boy Krishna has three other colors, white, red, and yellow, as he appears in different ages. Now he has appeared in a transcendental blackish color. That's from Bhagavatam 10:8-13. Okay, now, as usual, I've almost run out the whole clock. So you can give a 1 minute, 60-second explanation of what you've gleaned. On your mark, get set, go. Go ahead and raise your hands. Vaikuntha Nayak Prabhu is here all the way from South India.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. And
Hare Krishna. Nice to see you.
I particularly liked Shloka 31. May that lion be seated in the core of the heart of every living being. Thus, with his resounding roar, may he drive away one's elephantine vices. Thank you.
30 seconds to tell why you like that.
Because it gives hope, that it also gives the realization that they cannot be driven away by my own effort. And it gives the hope that actually, just as the lion drives away the elephants, Mahaprabhu sitting in the heart can drive away all the vices.
That's really nice. A wise choice. Thank you. Bali Mardan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Haribo.
So I like the beginning. We talked about the Krishna appeared in 28th of this yoga, Dibya Yoga of the Manvantara, this Manu, Vaivasvat Manu. And immediately after this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And that is trillions of years of a day of Brahma. So we should be very fortunate that both the personalities, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the name as Krishna and Chaitanya. So we are very fortunate to have taken part in this particular period of this Sandhya, 38,000 years of the first Sandhya of Kali Yuga. So that is my take, and I am very happy and honored that we are reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Good to be in the right place at the right time. Krishna's arrangement. Thanks, Bali Prabhu.
Thank you.
Kumar.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. The one that is so striking to me is text 26. Yuga Dharma Pravartana Hayam Sahaite Amavinanyena Re Vraja Prema Dhite. My plenary portions can establish the principles of religion for each age. No one but me, however, can bestow the kind of loving service performed by the residents of Vraja. So I really like the one here, that no one but me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one who came to give the Vraja Bhakti.
So special, right?
Yes.
Everything we get from it's a bequeathment, really, and you have to get it from somebody who's part of it, who's in it. Such an important part of the whole scheme of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna coming to give love of himself through his form. That's half Krishna and half Srimati Radharani. Excellent. Shraddha Devi Dasi.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj Dandavat Pranam for the reading. It really reminds me of the old times when you used to have extempore reading sessions and you would all jump in, so thank you for that. So the verse that struck my mind was verse number 14, where he was saying that for a long time I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. And the key that I really like, the statement follows, which was, without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. And I was just connecting that with your statement in the beginning of the class today, where you said that it's not that we won't get happiness in this material world, it's just that we need to know the formula. And so the formula came in this verse 14 there, that you bring in devotional service, and that's the right utility of this material world, the right utilization. Otherwise, we think it's meant for our enjoyment.
Big mistake, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and it's when we're uninformed, when we don't know the purpose of the world, then it's very easy to try to usurp what is not ours, and then we get in trouble. And then there's penalties and interest. Okay, Ekachakra Pran.
Hi, Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances.
Lord
Always.
pray.
The verse that caught me today was verse number 1. I liked your insight that every chapter begins with a original Sanskrit verse by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I thought that will kind of enrich my readings from now on, just having that understanding. And I really like this idea that by the potency of the shelter of his lotus feet, even a fool can collect the valuable jewels of conclusive truth from the mines of the revealed scriptures. I took a look at my bookshelf and I was seeing it as a mine that I can go into and collect these valuable jewels, and that someone even like me can find it thanks to his teachings and the shelter of his lotus feet. I really like that verse and the metaphor and the imagery of it. So thank you, Guru Maharaj. Very grateful to be here today. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, nice point. Everything's essentialized and brought out. There's so many scriptures. Burini Budi Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagasha Atasadyo Trayatsaram Samutrita Manishaya Bruhi Bhadraya Bhutanam Amritatvaya Kalpate. There's a verse in the first canto, first chapter of the Bhagavatam, when the sages are telling Sudha Goswami, there's so many scriptures and there's so many rules and regulations and rituals. Said, please tell us, sort them all out and tell us what we really need to know. We want to know the essence. We don't have time for anything else. And everything's come down in this essential form, especially Caitanya Mahaprabhu brings it in such a form that anyone can take the tincture and it's all there. Everything's there perfectly. Nicely done. Ashraya Madhava Prabhu. You've got 10 seconds. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So 314 is the one I like that also. Is that, all the personal relationships we have here in this world, I think it was mentioned in one of the purport, are perverted reflections of the personal relationships we have with Lord Krishna. And when we establish that relationship with Lord Krishna, then we feel happy. And that is what Lord Krishna wanted to teach us when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this yuga. So we are very fortunate and we should take advantage of that.
Very detailed explanations of our relationships with Krishna.
Yeah.
All throughout the world, there's a sense that many religions have, that we have a relationship with God, but most of them have this sense of awe and reverence, so reverent that you can't even say his name. So there's a way in which the Caitanya Mahaprabhu brings this intimate, loving sentiment from the topmost planet in the spiritual world, where the devotees relate to him in these various relationships. It's all scientific. Very nice. Dira Prashanta.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept.
Look at all those books back there.
And accept my obeisances to all the devotees. It's so nice to see you all. So Maharaj, the the thing that caught my attention was about the pure devotees, where it mentions, when one associates with pure devotees, even the liberation kind of becomes a sense gratification. And actually, I was thinking about the first canto, like the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, where once he gets cursed, he has limited time. So he's waiting for the arrival of Sukadeva Goswami to start the Bhagavad Katha, right? And he mentions two things. One is when pure devotees like you come to a place, it sanctifies the whole place. And the second thing he mentions is what to speak, when you start talking about the Krishna Katha. Yeah, and he mentions further that, it eradicates the sins, so pure devotees are so powerful that we need to really take every care and welcome them in the house. Because I personally felt that, the vibration, lies around even after they go. So recently we had like a small gathering at my house, and I could feel that after they left, the place was still like buzzing with that kind of vibe. Haribol.
Yes, that's the secret. The most important of all is to have association with pure devotees. Thank you very much, dear Shanta. Yashoda Kripa.
Hare Krishna, Mahaprabhu Pranam. The question is from actually Mantra Siddhi Das, who cannot speak for some reason. So this is from you can understand, I'm in the baby right now. So text 11 actually, where it talks about the 4 mellows and not 5. So traditionally we are used to hearing the 5 primary and then 7 secondary rasas. So and then it's not only like 5, but it just talks only about 4. This gives no consideration at all to the Shanta rasa. And why? It explains in the next verse that Krishna enjoys the 4 and not the 5th for the Shanta rasa. So this is an eye opener for a lot of people like who want to just meditate or just stay in a neutral bhav and not enjoy a relationship with Krishna. So Mantra Siddhi is saying that she likes those relationships of reciprocation where it's a 2-way and not a 1-way communication with Krishna.
Yeah, nice point. You're not even in the game yet with Shantaras. Haribo. Nice points. Thank you very much. These are beautiful points. Okay, Varshana.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj Ji.
Hare Krishna.
I like that text number 16. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration, but devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. And then the purport from the beginning. After his appearance, Lord Krishna thought that he had not distributed transcendental personal dealings with the devotees in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. One may understand the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedic literature and thus become the devotee of the Lord and worship him within the regulative principles described in the scriptures, but one will not know in this way how Krishna is served by the residents of Vrajbhumi. So we are really very fortunate that Mahaprabhu appeared and he taught us how to do the right kind of bhakti in Dasya Rasa. So I was really impressed by this purport that God himself appeared to teach us how to do real bhakti. Hari Bol. Hari Krishna.
Hare. Okay, we got 2 more. And Shankari Kaur is up next.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Please accept
Krishna.
my humble obeisances. I really liked verse 27. There may be many all auspicious incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but who other than Lord Sri Krishna can bestow love of God upon the surrendered souls? And it's just making me feel so grateful to be here, because whenever it comes to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we always think about Sankirtan movement, but this is the text that really brings to the fore the real reason for his incarnation. We are getting the best love from the best personality. That's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And I'm feeling so fortunate and grateful right now, because this best thing has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada and to the whole world. And this one of the best scriptures that we are reading. And today, in your association, Guru Maharaj, you've taken this, really this mercy upon me to, just do this. So it's just feeling very elated.
Then
Hare Krishna.
you look inside and you see, look, Shankari Court, she's got a stack of books there, Bhagavatams and teachings of Lord Caitanya. All the devotees, if you look inside their room, there's a Chutu Kumar who's got his bookshelf. You see how this knowledge has come down, and it's there residing in each one of our homes, personal information about the spiritual world. And just as Shankari Kaur is saying, just getting it directly from Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest blessing. Otherwise, what are you going to know? And also, there's a lot of books out in people's homes right now, just like we have them, but they're not really aware what's in them yet. They haven't quite opened them, but they will. Okay, for the close, Sudeep, who
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my
enjoys serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet in all types of different ways.
Maharaj. Maharaj, the verse that stood out for me was text 21. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. The proof is there in the pudding. One has to taste the rasa of devotional service before he can convince anyone else. So that stood out to me. Also,
Yes.
it was many things came to my mind about our Sankirtan devotees when they're out distributing books, how convinced they are that they are able to convince others because they themselves are so convinced. Also, I recalled about Srila Prabhupada's instructions to you. You must read my books. Everything just came to me when we were with this verse. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Beautiful insights into the absolute truth. And for the real close, Sundari Kirtan. Although we do read lips, having lived through the pandemic, if you can unmute, it'll make it easier.
Hi, Guru Maharaj. I'm so happy to see you back.
Thank
You probably could guess which verse I love. It's 19. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nama Sankirtana, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four loving devotional service. Just in case I wasn't really clear on why I love Kirtan and why I feel that I want to dance and feel so joyful, this is affirmation of that.
Yeah, and it's such an important point too, that this by the Nam Sankirtan, especially inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna himself, with the intention of spreading love for him in the four different mellows, it says here that the Chari Bhava, these four moods of bhakti, are given through that Nam Sankirtan. So talk about essentializing. When it comes down to establishing all or mining the various scriptures, what comes out as the greatest jewel of all is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And by chanting that and dancing in ecstasy under the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one will develop the Chari Bhavs. These four relationships with Krishna are there directly from the direct process of chanting Hare Krishna. Well, we did it again. Somehow or other, we came together with the use of technology, and by the grace of the Parampara and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, somehow or other, we come together and we heard some insider information from the spiritual world. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Vanchakalparusha Kripasnaveva Chapatitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauritai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shringadev. If you so desire, Please let us enter deeply within the kirtan, take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, and develop pure love for him in one of the 4 relationships. Thank you for considering our request. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say, Nitai Gauranga.
Nitai Gauranga.
Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Good morning, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Okay, Nisha.